how's it going, folks? Welcome to FoundFlix. Today we're looking at an excellent upcoming film that you have to check out, Bones and All, out only in theaters this Thanksgiving. It's the story of a young woman learning to survive on the margins of society and joins up with the intense drifter Lee. The pair set out on a 1,000-mile odyssey through the back roads of Ronald Reagan's 1980s America. Yet despite their best efforts, all roads lead back to their terrifying past and to a final stand that will determine whether their love can survive their otherness. First off, thanks to Bones and All for sponsoring this video. I actually was fortunate enough to see this back at Fantastic Fest and absolutely loved it. That's why I jumped on this opportunity. I genuinely really dig the movie. It wound up actually being one of my favorites of the year. I went into it mostly blind with only a basic synopsis and knowing that Timothée Chalamet was in it. That was it. I mean, that's enough, right? And everybody loves that guy. So I had no idea what I was in for, and when the credits rolled, I seriously was blown away. This is one of those kinds of movies where as soon as you leave the theater, you immediately go into a huge discussion with others about all the many aspects to the movie and the story and everything else, which I absolutely love, because it wound up being a much more genre-bending affair than I anticipated, juggling elements of horror, romance, and a coming-of-age story set amongst the dreamy backdrop of a classic Americana road trip. Impressively, the film manages to balance all of these disparate genres with ease, creating a wholly original and impactful experience. A big part of the success on the production and visual side is thanks to Luca Guadagnino, here reuniting with Timothée from their breakout Call Me By Your Name. As we've seen with that and other of his works, Guadagnino really has his own particular style and tone that he brings to his movies. It's hard to really pinpoint, and I think that's what makes him a certified auteur. A Luca Guadagnino movie is really entirely its own thing, and that's amazing. Ostensibly, the story does feature cannibals, here referred to as eaters, but it quickly becomes obvious that this is not a monster movie, and the cannibalism is a metaphor for several other pivotal aspects of the story, as well as society at the time. There's also universal aspects that we can all relate to, as seen through the eyes of the confused and reserved Marin. While you might come for Timothée, and he's amazing of course, this really is Taylor Russell's movie, and this for me was truly a star-making role. She's not as showy as others' performances, but that is impressive in its own right, and she embodies the character perfectly. Marin has been hidden under her father's care and is doing her best to appear normal, with big fat air quotes obviously, more like suppressed her natural urges and pretend to be like everyone else. You know the drill. This is of course doomed to fail, and after an incident at a sleepover, her father has no choice but to send her out into the world all on her own. She simply has grown too dangerous to manage. She is grossly under-equipped for her journey, having been under her father's watchful eye most of her life, and that's why she appropriately starts her journey of self-discovery completely on her own. She's gonna have to figure this big old world out one way or another. Though her pops did at least leave a series of cassette tapes behind that reveals her history as well as her mother's. This mystery provides an intriguing driving aspect to the story as well. What did happen to her mom, and is she doomed to the same fate? Though surprisingly, it's not too long before she encounters another like her, the enigmatic and charming Sully, who is able to smell her from nearly a mile away. Impressive! Initially, she sees him as a kind of mentor, but there's a shade of danger to him as well. He's been doing this for a long time, and of course it's going to have some effects after so many years. He does have several rules that he abides by, including never eat an eater. Yet he does kill innocent people to feed his hunger, which for Marin is too much to consider. She still is trying to repress her natural tendencies, and I mean we can understand why. Murder usually isn't ideal, and it also highlights a potential road to Marin's future, a possible darker path that she might fall into following his guidance. Also, Mark Rylance absolutely destroys it as Sully. This guy is seriously like a chameleon. He acts and looks completely different in everything I've seen him in. He plays these several layers of his character with thrilling ease, switching from friendly and charming to frightening and villainous on a dime, all with a gravelly southern drawl. Every time he was on screen, I was on edge. I'm like, what is this guy gonna do? So yeah, he's weird, but not all eaters are like Sully. It's through chance that Marin meets the lanky floral shirt donned Lee. He's a feeder too, but someone that she can relate to much more than Sully. He has his own ideals and morals when it comes to their lifestyle, but also does not live in shame, as Marin has been conditioned to her entire life. It is what he is. There is nothing to hide in his mind. Thanks to his acceptance and eventually love, Marin begins to come into her own and understand who she truly is, not what she's been told is right or wrong. They might be outsiders, but they have each other. The two hit the road through America's back roads, where she learns that they really aren't alone at all, discovering a hidden society living in the shadows of the countryside of others just like them. See, you're not an outsider so much after all. There's tons of these guys all over the place. Though as they become more comfortable with themselves and what they do, their lifestyles can only lead to so many ends, and eventually danger tracks them down with violent and tragic results. That's just a taste of the movie overall, and there's a lot more to appreciate in the full movie. Like I said, you don't want to miss this one. So if you're looking for a movie that seamlessly delves into horror, dark romance, thrills, and so much more, you gotta check out Bones and All. This new film is only out in theaters this Thanksgiving. Get your tickets now at bonesandallfilm.com. Thanks again to Bones and All for sponsoring this video.